I don't know how to capture it all into a 15-minute interview. She's wonderful.
Bella loves literature. She has this unbelievable ability to push students to analyze literature more deeply than they probably ever thought that they could. She's one of the best question askers.
She really serves as the facilitator, and the students are always doing all of the work.
She's just kind of guiding them there. She can push students through East of Eden, this huge book, and at the end, students walk away being like, I liked that. That's a skill as an English teacher.
It's just well known that here at GVR, Bella's somebody that kids can count on.
Those kids would do anything for her because she would do anything for them.
Bella spoke at the senior celebration night. She was chosen by the students to be the speaker. In her speech, she was able to quote passages from essays that some of the students had written as freshmen. And that's just so Bella. She knows the kids on such a deep level that remembering what they wrote as freshmen doesn't surprise me at all.
There's a lot of stories like that for Bella. It's like a total mutual trust between all of them. That's a gift, and she has it.
She's got this strong mind and quiet voice that has a power to it in her classroom.
Working with her and knowing her has changed my life and impacted me in super, super meaningful ways, and I'm beyond proud of her.
Tracy is a powerhouse. I don't know how else to say it. Not many people can say they teach both math and English, but Tracy does, and she crushes it.
I feel like she knows every kid in the building because she's taught them at least once in 9th grade or 11th grade. She's run summer school, and as a house lead, she's involved in supporting every student at some level at some point in their career.
Tracy is one of those people that makes herself available for students consistently, whether it's just walking into her room after school or in the morning.
During lunch, before school, after school.
Some of her old advisees, I find them asking where Miss Shipman is so they can come talk to her after school.
She's willing to do whatever it takes to help them learn the things that they need to learn.
She will not stop until everyone feels valued, feels welcome, feels like they have a place and a purpose.
Kids feel seen and known and heard in her classroom. The SAT question of the day on their do now in the 9th grade math class. The kids are so into it, and she's acting so cheesy, and they all are just being weird and having fun, totally getting into the SAT. There's just a great vibe in the room. Tracy just seems like she's so comfortable in her own skin. That makes kids feel comfortable in their own skin.
They're able to see their learning as something that's tangible. They see themselves represented within the curriculum, and they see why this matters in the real world.
She puts her full self into whatever it is that she's doing.
Our whole community would thank Tracy if they had this opportunity to sit here in front of the camera. I think she does so much for our school, for our students, for our staff. To the master teacher in the room, a big congratulations. It's so well deserved.
Brad's teaching style, and I think his general demeanor in our building, is loud and proud. He is the embodiment of fulfillment in this work. The kids can sense his excitement about science.
He loves being in the classroom. Kids respond to him really naturally, and you can just tell it's because he's passionate about what he does and he knows everything so well.
Someone mentions something to do with science, you hear Brad's "Go Science!" It has absolutely trickled throughout the whole school. Now in morning meeting, you can hear kids say, "Go Science!" He brings his full self to work, and I think that trickles into his classroom. And his kids feel like they can be themselves in the classroom as well.
He tends to have a very commanding presence, so kids respond to him pretty immediately when he's at the front of the room. But if he's not getting the response that he wants, he's always walking around with a pencil behind his ear, and he'll literally just be like, and he makes this little face.
He has a way of connecting with every student in his room. He makes a point to seek out the students that may fall under the radar. He views his time in the classroom not only to further their content knowledge, but also to feel like they belong in our school.
He's really good at building people's confidence. People really feel like known and seen for the hard work that they're doing. People around GVR know him as the yo dude guy.
In the commons during our work time, it's always, dude, how are you doing?
If you see him in the hallway, he's like, yo, dude, what's up? How you doing? How's your life?
I don't know if I could do this work without him. When things get tough, he's the one that reminds us, hey, we're all doing great work. No matter what challenges we face, it's all gonna be a great year because Brad's gonna be there for us.
The last thing I want to say about Brad is that he better be at this master teacher dinner. He does not take praise very well. But Brad, you deserve everything, and hopefully you are watching this video getting the appreciation you deserve.
Melissa is just immediately like all warmth and so joyful and so caring of every single person. You can tell from the moment that she meets you.
From that first year that she taught social studies, in my mind, she has always been a master teacher. She pushes herself to be the best, and I think working with her as her peer, she makes me be better.
You can tell in every moment that she deeply loves and cares for each of our kids. She is also utterly clear on this incredibly high bar that she has for kids, and she demands it every moment from them, and they know that it is from a place of respect and love, and she never lets them slide for fear of breaking a relationship. She knows that actually pushing kids to be their best is the ultimate honoring of the relationship, and kids feel that.
I am continually day in and day out amazed by the rigor of her classroom.
Her room's so peaceful and calm and centered and focused and just rich in discussion. Every single do know that she gives kids, literally every single day, the last question is something totally silly. French fries or chocolate ice cream, or you're writing a biography, what would you title it? And it just gives like this levity to the beginning of class that kids can expect and look forward to.
I think she just really has a good time teaching, and it wears off on the students.
There's no dissonance between the way she works and who she is. And that to me just shows an integrity of self that our kids see as a model.
Kids come back and tell her all the time. They tell me just like the impact that Miss Tran has had on them, just in terms of how they think. She teaches kids not when certain events started and ended, but like how to critically think and take your own voice and viewpoint.
Many kids deeply desire to be their authentic self, but also don't quite know who that is yet, and she gives them the space to explore that.
It's hard to think about like where our school would be in the last 5 years if it wasn't for Melissa Tran.
She's just someone that is sort of omnipresent in our building.
She has been just like this stronghold of consistency. When we talk about the positivity and a lot of the successes that GVR has had in the last few years, I think in my mind, Melissa's at the front and the center of that.
She's just delightful. She is absolutely the best.
She is a huge chemistry geek. I think she just deeply loves chemistry and chemistry content. And obviously that's something that translates in the classroom to her students, but it's also just something that she kind of lives and breathes. She's a geek, and it's wonderful.
Students who thought they would never be successful in chemistry, when they get into AP chemistry by the end of that year, have a different perception of who they are as scientists, and I think that is in large part due to Maddie's efforts and work.
She challenges the students and thinks very deeply about every minute that the students get to work in her classroom, and that creates this sense of urgency and liveliness and joy around the science.
She is just so deeply passionate about her content. She works extremely hard to make sure that her students are set up for success. She's also willing to adjust for whatever her students need.
Students felt comfortable and confident and able to be their best selves.
I often hear from 10th grade students that science is becoming one of their favorite subjects, and they're oftentimes saying like how hard chemistry is, but how supported they feel by their teacher, Maddie.
Her AP students in particular would run to her class knowing that if they even missed a minute of it, they would miss a very important minute. She holds a high bar, and yet at the same time, students have a comfort in that and a knowledge that that is something that's done out of love and care for them.
As our department chair, Maddie has really supported us in seeing how much we can learn from each other and really remembering all of the nuances in teaching science.
Her particular ability to talk to a student, ask them a thoughtful question that pushes them in the right direction, Socratically draws out the answer and the knowledge from them, and then celebrates that epiphany, the shock that comes across their face as they understand this really complex thought manifested in this really esoteric lab that they're doing. I don't think I've ever seen it done better.
If you've never seen Sam command a full room and a full gymnasium of middle school PE students, you should take a day off just to come see it. It's literally like watching magic. So I'll take multiple days to say, this is the culture of the classroom. So when I blow my whistle, you get onto your knee, we call this a ready position, and when I do that, it's because I have something important to tell you.
She gives kids a chance to try new activities that they would have never gotten a chance to try, like tinkling or step dance. Her lesson plans serve all kids from all backgrounds with all abilities.
She really fangirls out on these like celebrity PE teachers on Twitter. We have our coaching meetings and she'll be like, well, I was on Twitter and I was looking at what so-and-so had to say.
I love it when she's just like so excited about something. She's gonna tell you about it no matter what. It doesn't really matter what you're doing for that time of the day.
She knows and cares about and values every single kid in her room. And kids know that. Kids know when you're being authentic. Kids know when you actually care.
She's made me a better teacher. Like when I get someone who's been her advisee, that person knows exactly what support looks like with an advisor, and it pushes me to make sure that I am that for them.
PE is much more than having kids play dodgeball or even just regular team sports. She believes this is some of the most important work that exists in education. And she has been our true ambassador and leader for that, not only here at Byers, but in our whole network of DSST public schools.
I wish I would have had a PE teacher and an advisor like her when I was that age, for sure.
The moment I remember most about the year that I met Courtney was the first formal observation that I did with her, and going into a class full of 30 sophomores, watching them just singing and clapping and mastering really tough Spanish content. It was this kind of magical moment.
When I ask my advisees like what they like about her class, they all say, Miss, she is so much fun. Kids really want to be there.
Class after class, she'll come and she'll bring that energy and that silliness until students start to know that they can trust that.
Every day she stands by her door and she says, ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Qué llevas puesto el día de hoy?
2 to 3 weeks into school, you start to see that click in and register, and then you really start to see students thrive.
Courtney is known for being an excellent bachata dancer. She's done a morning meeting where she brought actually other dancers, people that she dances with.
Courtney's identity as a dancer is something that she brings into the story of herself and that she shares with students. Shares with them how much having a passion like that has just given her a lot of joy and purpose.
She is so much fun. She's someone that you really want to hang out with. She makes kids connect with her. They feel comfortable.
She's an advocate for students to expand their view of who they can be, who others can be, and that it's okay to be really truly yourself. You don't have to stuff yourself back inside of that box.
She has committed her heart to the students in this community.
Since the first day we opened Cole, Miss Litchin's class is everyone's favorite class.
You walk in and you feel a sense of deep belonging in her classroom, whether you've been there 2 hours or, 6 months.
I think students feel very heard by her and very cared about. I think she does a great job building individual relationships with kids. The other day, I was talking with Becky in the hall and she's like, oh, I have to go, I have math class. And as we know, Becky doesn't teach math. Becky is a phenomenal advisor, and she cares so deeply about her girls that she attends math class frequently with one of her advisees, and then they like work on the work together. I'm sure the teacher appreciates having their class of students and then Miss Litchin sitting there. She does an amazing job finding books that kids would be interested in. So she gets to know kids, she gets to know their interests, and then she matches them with a book that they're excited about and that they actually want to read.
Kids all the time will be like, I love this book. And I'm like, where'd you get that? And they're like, Miss Litchin gave it to me the other day when she saw me in the hall. I think that this like shows like really a passion for like helping kids read and enjoy what they're reading.
They see her both as a person and as an educator, and I don't think that's always true for students in high school. Kids really pick up on the genuineness of what she has to say and believe her, and that makes them more comfortable sharing the challenges they're going through. And her ability to take those in, really hear kids, is another reason why I'm just so eternally grateful that Becky is part of our community here at Cole.
I remember when he first joined us, he rolled in, he had a heavy North Carolina drawl. He was the nicest guy any of us had pretty much ever met.
Certainly some of the best AP results in DSST, as well as the state and the country. He doesn't rest on his laurels though. He has expanded the AP program so that more students are exposed to that higher level curriculum, and it's because of that continual drive to improve that his students have amazing results, love his class.
And then there's Sig himself, who's just such an engaging personality and really so genuinely, obviously invested in his subject, but also just in the kids.
Students have the opportunity not only to learn about the past, but make connections between the past and the present. He consistently shows examples of what's happening in the present and has students make connections and have tough conversations and does not shy away from those tough conversations. That helps history come alive for students in a way where just studying the facts of the past would not.
Those lessons, more than any other lessons I've ever seen, students would just perk up and come alive.
It just makes it such an easy and calm and lovely learning environment.
He is inviting of them to express curiosity and take risks, and ultimately they just learn so much more when there's that freedom in the classroom that he fosters so well.
Right off the bat, we knew we had someone special. It was incredible to see someone so incredibly nurturing, not just for her students, but also her team. She took care of her team.
How CHRISSY interacts with students is by sharing herself first and foremost. She shares stories about her kids and her husband, her true love and passion for Harry Potter, but she also really takes the time to get to know their story.
She partners with them, and where she sees she doesn't have a relationship, she'll take the extra time to build it.
It's really wonderful to get to see her hold students to a really high expectation, but always grounding that in love.
When you see her teaching in the classroom, it's this partnership coming to life.
She does that strict and warm balance with her advisory, and they feel very supported.
She's very frequently called Mama Bear. Students are her focus, always.
When CHRISSY sees a need, she fills it. If she sees that someone's struggling, she doesn't wait for them to ask for help or doesn't wait for something to happen.
She makes sure that they're aware that they, no matter what, no matter where they are in that subject, that they see the value they bring to the table. She creates a space that is safe to take risks as a learner. Kids are collaborating with each other. They're advocating for each other. That sense of community in her classroom is exemplary.
Thinking about the time that CHRISSY's gone above and beyond is difficult because that's every day.
We had high school students that she taught, especially with our young ladies and that were her advisees, come to her quite often as they're progressing through life and becoming women.
CHRISSY supports all of us in a lot of different ways.
She's my hero. I admire her. I'm constantly inspired by her.
CHRISSY's just an amazing human as it is, and it's really exciting that she's recognized for being a master teacher because she is.
I realized right away that she was unlike anyone I'd ever met before. She's just truly the most passionate person I've ever met in my life.
Her passion is extremely authentic. She loves this community with her entire being.
She just gets excited about things.
She's one of those people, like, she's excited, I'm gonna be excited too.
The core values that I think that she lives to the fullest are curiosity and doing your best. If you know Skylar, her personality is an explosion of excitement and energy.
She's always like, here's this really hard thing and you can do it. Like,
she is truly a learner at her core. Not a minute goes by that she's not examining how her own actions impact students.
the thing that I take away the most from her is how much she's been an advocate for kids and how much she's been an advocate for justice in her school. She always chooses what is right over picking the easy road.
Skylar is incredibly committed to our mission to end educational inequity. She often goes out of her way to have positive impact on people outside of her normal day-to-day.
A couple years ago, some boys in her advisory were having a hard time and they were just really in that like middle school funk, and she took them to a baseball game.
She's also the person that is applying for grants and bringing new lab equipment into our building, starring in the school lip sync and winning. They were in the middle of the room doing a choreographed dance. I think at one point the wig flew off into the crowd. She strives to be excellent in everything that she does. I think it's the same reason why she has her black belt in karate. When she sets her mind on something, she really stops at nothing to accomplish it, and it's the same thing with teaching.
I met Jeff over 6 years ago, actually at Teach for America Institute. It's been awesome to watch Jeff grow and develop into the person he is today. And I wish I could say that he's like totally different, but I think just teaching came so naturally to him that he was awesome when we first started.
Jeff demands the best. He pushes all of us on the Cole admin team and his peers and our students, everyone, to really bring their A game every day, leading his team in Dragon Wars like a crazy person.
Jeff Tissue is on the green team. He is their team captain. He takes it extremely seriously. You can find him screaming on the sideline to like make sure they are doing their absolute best.
Jeff goes out of his way to make sure every student feels known and affirmed for the qualities that are inherent to them. Jeff has really committed to our LGBTQ students by being the sponsor of our Pride Club here at Cole.
It's been a really awesome community that he's built in that space, and students feel super welcome there. They feel super heard there.
It allows them to trust him as a person and as an educator in their lives, and to really feel that what they say matters.
I will never forget the day that one of our students was gonna find out whether or not he got into Stanford. Jeff was like a nervous wreck all day. I get a text from Jeff in all capital letters, Tristan got in, like he's going to Stanford. Literally Jeff like thought he was going to Stanford too. Like I think he's confused why he's not there in the fall, because that was like so important to him, watching his advisee who worked so incredibly hard for 4 years like achieve his goal.
His advisees last year, many of them said he was one of, if not the only really strong male role model in their lives, and that was very apparent on graduation day when everybody wanted their picture taken with Mr. Tissue. Jeff is just a very special teacher and a very special person. He brings us all up. Dara, as a former competitive basketball player, brings that urgency and drive into her work here at school. She's just so relentlessly positive. You can't walk by Dara anytime, anybody, without getting some kind of like, you rock, or awesome job.
As a coworker, Dara is one of the most efficient humans I know.
She is everywhere at all times.
One of my favorite things to do is pop into the class she teaches of the newcomers, because it's just really goofy and silly, and she's teaching the kids how to speak English for the first time.
Dara has an amazing rapport with kids, joking with them, giving them a hard time, and also making sure that they live up to their absolute fullest potential.
She's kind of fearless when it comes to all of our students. You know, if a student isn't being the best they can be, she'll immediately reach out.
When you enter her room, things are focused, they are on point. but that doesn't mean that there's no talking and it's a silent and sterile place. It's full of talking and energy and hands in the air.
She teaches some of our students who have been the most educationally neglected in their past, yet when they come through her door, she doesn't ever make excuses for them.
She is literally willing to do whatever it takes to ensure that our kids, who often have some of the biggest barriers to achieve their dreams of college, have those opportunities.
They always look to her as like one of their favorite teachers, and they say she's one of the reasons they're able to be where they are now.
She is the kind of teacher we all dream about having on campus.
I just feel really grateful to have had her next door for the past 5 years.
She really knows what it's going to take to get all of her kids to the position where they can choose the future that is going to be most impactful and profound for them. She's so easy to talk about.